Okay, so I just had a couple of questions for you centering around like how you feel America is portrayed in games produced here versus like produced in other countries. Might be kind of a niche question, but we'll see where we can go from this. So, okay, assuming that there is a disparity between the way America is portrayed in these different games. Yeah.
So let's see. Well, you'd have to, by portrayed, you mean what they think the audience is like, or less are they portraying something in America?
I think they're portraying something in America. Like one of the things that I wanted to go off of is like, okay, in most Call of Duty games, of course, America is just, they're the paragons, right? Like everybody else kind of are painted as like savages or, you know, almost like something to be colonized or something. That's the feel I get.
But not all. I mean, there's a couple games that you might look at. One is XCOM. I don't know if you ever played that.
Oh, okay.
But what it is, it's a multinational effort to defeat aliens that are invading. And so the characters are from all over the world. And when they first did it, it was kind of unrealistic because it was really based upon American cities. And so you'd be landing in Japan to fight aliens, but all the signs would be in English. Oh. Now this time they've gone through and they've changed that so that this is the latest effort. If you're landing in wherever you land, you don't see that the signage is particularly American, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I don't remember if they actually use just graphic, and they don't have any printed letters to say, okay, that's Bob's Big Boy or something like that. Mm-hmm. Some restaurant that would say that is America. Well, not anymore, but.
Well, and we're also talking about like, so you meant XCOM. There's like the game that's like 20 years old, right? And then there's the reboot from I think 2012, and they just came out with a new one, right?
Yeah. So the reboot.
The reboot has that.
The reboot from 2 or 3 years ago still had all the American settings, even though you might land.
Oh, that's what you were.
You might land in Japan, but all the signage would be in English. Now, when you land anywhere in this current game, but all the characters, they were heroic no matter where they came from. And they had languages. You could choose what your character's country was, what the language you came from, or it automatically assign it as you have more, because you recruit more and more soldiers as you play the game, because they die or get wounded or something like that. So you build up a force. But so that was pretty evenly treated. That everybody was against. It wasn't U.S. against Russia or U.S. against China. It was U.S. against aliens. So the outside threat, they portrayed all the country. That was how America portrayed it. If you looked at, I don't remember what games were playing, what games were America versus Russia. There's a bunch of those. 2 or 3 that were really good, like post-apocalyptic games. I can't remember what they were. Yeah, but it was, they weren't really Russia against the U.S. It was just Russia in a post-apocalyptic world. And they had kind of a similar theme to games here, like Fallout. I don't know if you ever played Fallout.
Yeah.
But that's it's America. There's been a nuclear holocaust, and it has nothing to do with. Well, in this current game, there was a war between Russia and China.
Wait, after the
current Fallout.
Oh, I'm Fallout 4, right? But I mean,
Fallout 4, yeah.
The war happened after everybody went into the vault, or was it like?
It happened as they were going into the vault.
Okay.
Right. The war is about to break out. People went into the vault, and in the past they didn't really talk about who started the war. In this case, it was a war between Russia. I mean, U.S. and China, and they didn't depict China or Russia as the bad guys. They project the war as bad. That's because it destroyed everybody, right? It was not like, well, the Chinese attacked us and destroyed us. No, it was U.S. and China screwed up and started a war that destroyed the world.
See, and that's that game is produced by Bethesda, which is a U.S. company, which is really cool. And I really like. There's this kind of parody between that anti-nuclear message and Metal Gear Solid, if you've ever heard of that.
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Those are honestly, if I ever get a video game tattoo. As stupid as that sounds, if I ever do, it will be the insignia from that game.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, it's
Is it such a good game?
It's just really, it's really different. Like, you get the sense when you play the game, there's such an eye for detail and stuff. Like, the guy who made this game, because they're all headed by one creative director, it's like, oh, this guy's probably crazy. Like, it probably would be insufferable to live with him or something, because he's got such a beautiful mind. He's so out there. Like, for example, I mean, again, I'm going off on a tangent, but the first game, this was on the PlayStation, the first PlayStation. It had things like, you can go into an office building and there's like a glass of water that was left on the table, and you can shoot the glass of water and ice cubes fall. And like, the game keeps track of where the ice cubes are, which is just
Really?
like,
That's pretty cool.
that's crazy for that time, right? Or in the newest game, which will probably be the last one that he was involved in, you have an audio recorder that can play different sounds, and you get these weird sound bites. Like, there's one, it sounds like a joke, but it's like a farting noise. And one thing you can do, it's a stealth game, so you're at one point, you're always overpowered. People are overpowered, like you're underpowered compared to everybody else. So you want to spend a lot of your time hiding. You can hide in a porta potty, and if one of the soldiers has a good idea, you're in there, he'll come and open it up and shoot you, right? But what you can do is play that audio recording.
The fart noise?
Yeah, the fart noise, and if you do it at the right time, he'll go, oh, sorry, man. Like, he'll think that it's his comrade, and he'll walk away, and you saved yourself. Like, it's that kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, it's like, that's so weird. But at the heart of it is this really over-the-top thing about, like, how, nuclear power is just, it's going to destroy us all. It's very much the same as
yeah, I think that's probably
Fallout.
what... God, I wish I could remember the name of that Russian game.
I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I just had one more question for you. So, what themes are most pervasive in the portrayal of, I guess, just the U.S. in video games? Maybe you've answered this in parts before, but...
Well, God, it's such a huge variety.
It
of
really
stuff.
is, yeah.
But the overpowering ones is, I guess, you as a hero fighting against some kind of evil,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Grand Theft Auto, right?
Okay.
Which is, I haven't played it, but I read about it, right? You end up taking on the role of a gangster,
Yeah.
right? And you can do terrible things in that. It's like no conscience, I think. I don't know.
No, you're right, and that's actually a good example of a game. I think it's produced in the UK, so that's why it's such they're looked to as like a very uncompromising look at America, at least in the current games, and like quote unquote realism. Like, the last game was set in a Los Angeles counterpart, kind of. And, yeah, I don't know.
Like LA Noire, though, that kind of, you play that as a hero, right?
That's true.
Although it does show the the underlying evil that exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to do the best you can make the best you can of a bad situation. Fallout, you're just trying to survive. And there's good guys and bad guys. I think in America, the games I like is where your bad guys are not good or evil.
Of course.
It's just that they are people in situations and they have their own motives. I think they do a pretty good job of that in most of the RPG games, that the more current ones that I play, whether it's the ones that are produced. I think the ones that are produced in the United States that I like, kind of not everybody. It's like World of Warcraft. You get to play all sides, right? And it's not that one's more evil than the other. They're just fighting against each other. From one perspective, one's evil, and from the other perspective, the other side's evil. The same thing in Fallout. You might pick a group that you're aligned with, right? And they do some evil things, right? You have to decide you go along with that or not. I don't know if the Dragon Age games,
And it's Fireware as well, right?
yeah. But again, it's you have choices of good or evil, and or Mass Effect, right? You can play a good or evil character, right? It's more of altruistic or selfish.